Hey everybody, welcome back to another one of my PGA model breakdowns, and I've made this video hopefully a little bit better and a little bit more data intensive and a little bit more stuff to focus on and see how I play and how I use my model. So in this video, what I normally do is break down this week's model and the top plays from it. However, I'm going to also add in a quick review of last week, how the model performed, and what my top lineups were. So when I say my top lineups, I don't mean the one that made me the most money. I simply mean the one that I put into all my big contests and any cash game contest that I play. All right, so let's break right in. First, we're going to start off with my model from last week. We're just going to do a quick review. Had Jon Rahm and Rory McIlroy 1-2. Those were big, pretty big misses as the actual rank, as you can see here, 35th and 106th. Bryson DeChambeau and Patrick Reed had them in the top 5, ranked in the model, and they both finished in the top 5. That's nice to see. Justin Thomas, Sungjae Im, Xander Schauffele. So, I forgot to put a little red here for Jon Rahm missing the cut. We have, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of the top 26 model in the rank missed the cut. Not bad, not great. Somewhere around 60 or 70%. That's what I like to do. Obviously, the big misses. The first big miss, Jon Rahm, no doubt about it. I actually had Webb Simpson all the way down ranked at 21st, though. And then when you throw in salary, he's probably even much lower. So that was actually a good job by the model to showcase that Webb Simpson may not have been as good a play as some people have made. And I had the winner ranked 22nd in the model, Daniel Berger. So not too bad as he kind of, I wouldn't say came out of nowhere to win, but certainly 22nd isn't as bad as it could have been. All right, let's move on now to my photos from the week, my lineups that I used last week, and here they are. These are my top lineups on each site. Let's start with the one on the left side, FanDuel. I ended up coming in 21st, but heading into the weekend, I was in the top 10. As you can see, I got 6 of 6 through. I used Danny McCarthy's cheap price, as I like to do on FanDuel from time to time. He was the min price at $7,000. It allowed me to go get Rory, Jordan, Xander, and Patrick, 4 studs. That's the way I try and like to build. Brian Harman also came out to be pretty good. Ended up scoring more points than Rory McIlroy. Wow, crazy. In terms of my DraftKings lineup, as you can see here, Matt Wallace really cost me a good week. If I had come off of Matt Wallace and Scotty Scheffler here and built a more balanced with 2 guys in that 7,000 range, I would have definitely moved up the leaderboard. Abraham Ancer was great. Jordan Spieth was great. Colin Morikawa was great. So all those guys provided some really nice return, especially to their value of their salary. So I had a really good core, just couldn't get through. However, I'll take 2 cashing for my 2 top big lineups. Normally, when my top 2 lineups cash, I'm going to have a positive week, and that was the case this week. Or last week, I should say. All right, let's head into the RBC Heritage now, where we're going to take a look at my model. And as I do in every single time I do this video, I go quickly about what you're going to see in the model. Here's the opening front page called Full Model. Go across, you're going to see the OWGR, the model rank, the make your own model rank, difference between the two. My projected ownership, and when Awesemo comes out with theirs, which I think they might be out with now, I just haven't quite added it into my portfolio. It'll go right here. My portfolio, listen to me. My model. Then, of course, the base rating and the make your own. The difference between those two is simple. In make your own, you get to make your own ratings for each of these categories that you see up here. And they're also down here. OWGR, odds, strokes gained, rank, by the field, other statistical range, approach proximity for 2 years, 2019 and 2020. Recent form, course history, DraftKings database, and model, because as you can see, I've got DraftKings points for all the players for quite a long time. I mean, I go all the way back to the Waste Management of last year, not this year. So a bunch of tournaments you'll find in there. You'll also find what place they came in the tournament in terms of their DraftKings points scored. Then, of course, I finish it up with the ownership database, where you can see all of the golfers' ownership from all the way back to the Wells Fargo of last year, and that's just how I project my ownership. Awesemo ownership once they're in. And then, of course, I break it down into pricing category, 9K, above 10K, 7K, and so on and so forth. All right, so that is what is in my model, and now quickly let's go over who I think is going to be the top owned and who my model likes the best this week. First off, Gary Woodland coming off a great week. saw his salary reduced. Just not a fan of that. That just means that it's going to be big-time ownership. I've got him coming in highest owned. I would suspect once I average in Awesemos that it'll be closer to 20%, but I've got Gary Woodland and Xander Schauffele pretty close to the highest owned this week. I got Rory McIlroy trending down, somewhere around the 16%. I've got Corey Connors coming off a great week. People will love to pile into him, coming in at about 15%. Webb Simpson, I see people going back to him with that price drop now at $9K, coming in at 13%. Colin Morikawa also in at 13%. And then I've got the cheapies, Ricky Fowler, Dustin Johnson. I suspect people will play them at about 11 to 10% this week. And rounding out the top five, Justin Thomas, Bubba Watson, Patrick Reed, Danny Berger, Tony Finau, all should come in above 10%. All right, let's take a look at my base rating model. I'll give you the top five in here. This week, no surprise to see Rory McIlroy and Justin Thomas 1-2. Bryson DeChambeau, Xander Schauffele, and Hideki Matsuyama coming in at 4 and 5. Interesting enough, John Rahm drops all the way down to 9th this week. As compared to last week, he was ranked 2nd, so that's the biggest drop of the week. In terms of my make your own model in the salary, the best value looks like Matthew Fitzpatrick checking in at 7,900, Billy Horschel 7,700. Followed by Joel Damon at 7,500 would be your three top values. All right, so if you have more questions about my model breakdown, actually, before I send you off, let's go into the combined models for Fantasy Crunch. I had a great question about this last night. So what I do is I'll take my base model, my make your own model, and Awesemo's rankings once they're done. As you can see, they're all in 0 here right now, but once they're done, I put them in here. And then I average them out on the three. And then what I do is I take the combined average, which is actually this number, I apologize. Take the combined average, and the reason why I have it over here is because when you upload to Fantasy Cruncher, the names and the rating or points or projection, whatever you want to call it, needs to be in the column right next to it. So that's why I have them in K and L. You copy that, you head into Fantasy Cruncher, you load it in, and that will give you how I start making my lineups. Now, again, it's not how I finish making my lineups. I put in specific allocations that I want all of my players and the alike. So maybe just a little bit different there. All right, so thank you guys for joining my model breakdown. I'll be back tonight. Well, I'm assuming you're watching this on Wednesday because that's when I'm putting it out, Wednesday morning. I'll be back tonight for the Live Before Lock show. And, of course, if you're interested in ownership and what some top pivots are going to be and what some of the guys are going to be owned, I have my full ownership podcast, Against the Grain, coming out in probably about an hour or two from now. But till then, if you're looking for more content, we've got plenty of free articles and the like on our website. And of course, on the Awesemo Plus side, the premium side, I've got my winning element coming out this afternoon at around 5 o'clock. So thank you guys for coming and joining another one of my PGA model breakdowns. Hopefully you've liked the couple of additions to the video this week. And if I don't see you tonight, hopefully you have a good week this week. So good luck and cheers, and we'll see you on the other side.